Hey, it's Chris Bowling.
Hey, it's Chris Beyer.
We have two amazing guests, Tom Seltz and Amy, who is part two of our compliance update. We're very excited to now get into I'll say some great topics of, what happened in 22, and more importantly, what do you think is going to happen in 23? So, Beyer, I think you already have a question prepared. I will kick it to you.
Yeah, I know we had a lot of change in compliance that hit us as brokers and consultants. We had to formally start disclosing our compensation for our clients, which I think made a lot of firms scramble to get that done, building that system out and making sure it was there. There's a lot going on with pharmacy reporting for our self-funded plans. That's still, as we record this, is some ongoing challenges, but a lot of that came out of the 2021 CAA bill. What else did we run into in 22 that was a major thing? I feel like the whole year was just extra burden, either on the employer, on the carrier, or on us as the consultants. I'll ask you, Amy, what you remember from the year.
Well, there was, let's see, there was also the machine readable files that everyone scrambled, and the federal government kind of kept changing the rules on the fly, which has always been entertaining for those of us who have to help our clients comply.
Yes.
And we just actually got the shoppable services portals up and running for the most part. Most of the carriers have those up.
Tom, anything to add with that too, as you saw the year with quite a few things? I know we worked closely on that broker compensation disclosure template early in 22 to get that ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, what I thought was notable, what Amy already mentioned, was the how often they changed their mind at the last minute. Yes. The regulators, that would happen several times. There was all this scrambling having to do with posting links on websites, and then they pulled that. So employers were supposed to have it on their own websites, and they pulled that way back. So that's really not true in almost any cases anymore, because the TPAs can do it for them. With the RxDC reporting that was supposed to do December 27th, almost at the last minute, like the day before, I think it was, or a couple of days before, they suddenly announced that employers who are forced to file certain things themselves, which they expected to not happen very often, it was happening more than they expected, can now send an email, and they've got till January 31st of 2023, so they gave them an extra month and a couple of days. It betrays a pretty disorganized and disconnected Department of Labor, frankly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that there's been some turnover there. I think that there's different people running different things now.
It makes sense.
And those last minute sort of panic changes, I think, are going to be around for a while unless they learn from their mistakes. I think of, like, the Obama administration was very good at being in touch with individual employers and getting feedback and all that. I feel like this administration is less interested in what businesses have to say. And then when things fall apart and it's not working as well in the real world, they have to panic and make changes. Whereas they would have seen that coming, I think, in some of the previous administrations. Frankly.
And I don't disagree with you, Tom, but I also think that they tried to do too much too soon. I mean, there was, due to really extenuating circumstances, just a whole host of legislation that went through in 2020 and 2021. And then that regulatory process just rolled straight from there. And they just couldn't possibly get everything done with any kind of organization, as it turned out.
That's very generous. You're probably right. That's very generous of you to.
I know, Chris, you and I have talked about this several times coming into 2020 with the pandemic hitting, and all of the things that every day there was a new change and a new way to try to respond, that we felt that especially our clients, our HR directors, and a lot of our leaders within those organizations have just felt every month there's something new that they have to adjust to. And the two of you do a great job of helping distill that down, but it's still the challenge that in the last moment it gets changed again, and we've got to go back and redo that. Do you see that same sort of, I guess, pace or changes coming now as we go into 2023? Maybe speak a little bit to that. When we've got new Congress in session finally after multiple attempts, we've got that moving forward. But what do you see on the horizon this year as we go into the second half of Biden's first term?
Yeah, I would say that from a legislative standpoint, there's going to be very little done. I expect very little to be done. So I think the days of sweeping major legislative changes outside of in reconciliation. So that the year-end budget and the those bills that are passed, between Christmas and New Year's each year, that's probably all if something slipped in there, that's their big chance. Otherwise, the campaigning for 2 years from now is starting to kick in already. And it's going to be a lame duck session sooner than most years, I think.
Yeah.
Amy, what would you say with that too?
I agree with Tom. It might be that the Biden administration, which is going to be stymied by the House of Representatives, tries to do some things through the regulatory process. Although, now that I say that, they still have a lot of cleanup to do from the last couple of years. So I don't know what more they want to accomplish in the next 2 years. I think it's an opportunity for the states, and I say opportunity with a little bit of trepidation that the states may get to the business now. I know that we've been seeing a lot of legislation on pharmacy plans in the states. And we're seeing actually a lot of legislation or ideas for legislation on long-term care. So I think that there are going to be a lot of state laws that we in the benefits world need to start paying attention to in the next couple of years.
It's a really good point.
Yeah, I am looking forward to either one of you sending an email that says, this is going out to our clients, and I don't click it and be like, oh dear God, how many phone calls am I going to get today as soon as I click this and figure out what you guys are sending. And once again, we greatly appreciate the updates, but gosh, 2022 was miserable. It just seemed like every update that you were sending out was a big update, and it was impacting a lot of our clients. It wasn't a one-off. It was 80% of our clients were going to get affected by this update, and it just caused a lot of disruption. Can't thank you both enough for helping us through that, because we just don't have enough time in the day to figure it out and to really help our clients. It was exhausting. So I hope you're both right. I hope we get a pause. I hope we can breathe. I hope we can focus on what we do best and not have to scramble because our government is passing a bunch of laws without any foresight of how this is going to impact the business.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Well, I know there's so many things, Amy, you mentioned starting with the Insured Partners team before Obamacare, so many things that are still on the plate of the employer. It hasn't stopped being, reporting and regulations, and those things will continue to be there. But yes, if we can just get a slight pause on the frequency of new things coming through, hopefully 2023 will be a bit better. But I want to say thanks again for both of you joining us in focus today. This was good.
Yes, thank you. You guys are amazing.
Nice. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.